Good morning, Ireland. It is Friday, August 9th. That makes this day 1:39. I am currently on my way up up onto the Kinsman Mountains in the Whites. I had a zero yesterday. I've become part of a little tramily, which is kind of nice. I didn't think I would enjoy it, but two really nice people, in fact three really nice people, but a couple in particular, Grace and Fish, that's their trail names by the way, sort of actually invited me into the tramily a few days ago, and I guess we were trying each other out. So we're not kind of hiking in too close to each other, but we sort of start and finish each day together and meet up a couple of times, so it's great. They're really nice people. And then another nice lady called Shock Top, who all three of them I'd been sort of passing, sort of leapfrogging each other over the last week or so, and just got pally with them. And I have to say I'm sort of surprised, because I thought I would, I always thought I'd sort of prefer my own company, but I have to sort of climb down from that one and just admit that maybe I do like other people's company, and I certainly like their company. So it's a lot more enjoyable than I ever thought it would be. So yes, I only put the last video up last night, and I did somewhat leave the knee thing out there without giving a sort of an update. I did put a text update on the screen that the way I positioned my stretchy bandage, plus some anti-inflammatory gel and ibuprofen, seemed to be working. It still seems to be working. I am walking more or less normally now. Well, normally by my standards. So hopefully it stays that way and doesn't deteriorate. By chance, so my Irish friend Paul, who did the AT last year, happened to be going to his knee specialist this morning. So when he looked at the video last night, he suggested that he ask his specialist about it. So I gave him as detailed a description as I could of what I was experiencing, and this morning I got a kind of a pretty reassuring diagnosis back, and a sort of a plan of action, that it's more of an irritation injury that I've done rather than anything permanent, and it's better that I don't stop. I don't have long breaks. Just keep it moving, keep using the anti-inflammatory, the ibuprofen, the strap, etc. And basically keep going. So that's what I'm doing. Everything's going pretty well. Okay, talk to you soon. This is quite a climb. So coming up all through this stuff, it's quite steep. Can't believe I've got to go up there. Or up there. Oh, hang on. There's always a way. Aha. There's a crack. So that crack in the rock is my route, which is I'd all like you to share it. Did I say that right? Much as I would like you all to share it. I have to keep this to myself. Lovely. Talk to you soon. Wow, that's a tough ascent. It's not over. Look at this view. Look at that. Holy crap. We're getting up there. Okay, catch you later. So this is the top of South Kinsman Mountain. So that mountain over there is Moosalok, where we were 2 days ago. the, we're going over there literally now. That's North Kinsman. Check out this range. Gets somewhat higher over there. It's all ahead of us. It's beautiful up here. So delighted to welcome two distant family members to the subscriber list, Karen and Dave Bland from San Diego. Karen is my cousin's, I guess you're his stepdaughter, is that right? Yeah. So yes, thanks for subscribing. I'm delighted you're viewing the videos. And you started off with, well, one big question from me and one other question which I'll deal with first. So you mentioned an AT historical figure called Emma Gatewood. So yes, Emma was, she was the first, if I remember rightly, she was the first woman to through hike and the first person, male or female, to walk the AT 3 times. So it's kind of impressive. I think she walked it first in 1955. While I'm sort of dealing with her, the person who walked it first, through hiked it first, was a guy called Earl Schaffer, and he hiked it in 1948. And that was in response to a National Geographic claim that it couldn't be hiked in one go. So he set out to prove them wrong. Interestingly, he subsequently did it again and made a comment that it became harder, because I think in the early stages they were still using a lot of roads, etc. And that, you know, so they weren't on the rough trails and what have you, and on quite so many peaks. But of course nowadays, yes, it has got a lot longer, but we have a very good infrastructure along the way with hostels and towns, etc., and trail angels. So the AT is much more obtainable. All right. So the other question that Karen asked is a very tough one for me. Have I any plans to do the other two, PCT and CDT? If there was a gun to my head now forcing an answer, I'd have to say no. It's too far from home for me for such a long time. I would consider doing it in sections, maybe over a few years. But there are plenty more in Europe to deal with before I consider those. I think if Emily was interested in doing them with me, that would be different. But the idea of being away again for 6 months is, I don't think I could do that again. So right now the answer to your question is no, but I'd never say never. But I wouldn't be doing it on my own. If I was doing it, it would be somehow with Emily. So who knows? Who knows? But thanks for the questions and welcome aboard. Talk to you soon. Bye. Okay, check this out. This is called Lonesome Lake Hut. And this is properly up in the mountains. It's kind of cool. This is Zealand Falls. Good morning, Ireland. It is Sunday, August 11th. I'm in the White Mountains. I'm heading up Mount Zealand right now. It's quite a cold morning. It was quite cold last night. It got down to about 40 F, which is about 4.5 C. Yeah, I'm going to flip the camera around and then deal with a sort of a question. Okay, so Terry asked the wee question. Thanks, Terry. Do you have to pay anything to hike the AT? I think that's how you worded it. I'm going to give you a very quick answer, and then I'm going to give you a very slow answer. The very quick answer is no. It's completely free to hike the AT. There are little tiny sections like the Smokies where you pay a small fee, I think it's $20 or something, to pass through that area, and that's compulsory. Okay, so the bigger version of that is, I haven't really touched on this before, but in terms of, so what does it really cost if you want to do the AT? In terms of equipment, you know, feeding yourself, accommodation, etc., etc. So this one is down to interpretation, because depending on your situation and to what extent you're prepared to time things well, but you could argue that hiking the AT costs in some cases nothing, because don't forget, while you're here, you're not at home, obviously. So whatever it is that you know, just your normal cost of living at home, a significant chunk of that is effectively being saved. So, you know, you're not running your car, you're probably eating more expensive food at home than you would be here, etc. You know, all the normal bills. If you really time it well, you could take your car off the road. In fact, if you are between cars, you're not even incurring the cost of depreciating your vehicle. Potentially you could be between house or apartment rentals. So you're saving all that kind of money. And a lot of people on, you know, a lot of Americans on the AT do that very thing. They do it in between moving house or in between college and work, etc., etc. And it ends up costing them very little. And they really do it on the cheap here, which I'm kind of not interested in. So in terms of what you do have to, if you like, oh, it's a bit of a vista opening up there, what you do have to pay money for. So equipment, I would estimate, if you buy all new equipment, which of course you don't need to do, but if you buy the right equipment and the right amount of it, you're going to part with certainly €2,000. Certainly. Ultra lightweight equipment is expensive, very expensive, but it's very, very worth it, very, very important. Flights, so if you're doing it from Ireland, I think my flights return were something like 650. That varies a lot these days, but you know, that's that. Accommodation, again, it depends on how you want to do the AT. Because a lot of people will hardly ever go into a town. I like going into the odd town. So in the southern half of the AT, accommodation, you know, a basic motel is going to be anything from sort of $50 to $100. Some people, once they get into tramilies, will share rooms, and obviously that gets divided down. Nearly all of the trail shelters are free. Excuse me. One or two, including the one we're going to be at this evening, which is Garfield Hut. I think there's a $5 fee or something. So you've really got to balance it out. The hiker hostels in the southern section, the accommodation part of it is usually about, you know, $20-25 a night, and then you'll pay about typically maybe $4 or $5 for laundry, and you might have to pay for a shower as well, which would again be another $4 or $5. That's that. So you multiply all those things out, and then your food, again, you can live very simply, but anything from $4 to $10 a day. And here, shock top. She's shy. She's pretending to be shy. Talk to you later. So, for me, when you tot all that up, my budget came out at about €10,000 for everything: equipment, flights, accommodation, food, etc. But again, as I said at the start, if you then take off from that the costs of me living at home, it reduces it quite significantly, actually. I don't know whether I'd argue it down to zero, but it wouldn't be far off. So yes, on the surface it might sound like you need a lot of money, but you can do it very inexpensively. So what I'm trying to say is, money should not be the reason why you don't do the AT. I understand there are other very significant things that could get in the way, but money shouldn't really be one of them if you do it right. So there you go. That's a long answer to your little quick question, Terry. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Just at the top of Mount Goyot, I think. It's pretty wild up here. Hope you can hear me. See some stunning peaks up here. I guess that's in the clouds there. Must be Mount Washington. I'll be up there in 2 days' time. Looking forward to that one. I think that's the actual just beyond it and over to that side. Shelter that we're going to camp at. Okay, catch you later. Get my breath back in a minute. Nearly there. Check this out. Sorry, get my stupid head out of the way. Not bad, eh? So this is the summit of South Mountain. It's pretty stunning up here. So that peak there is Garfield Mountain. Tonight's campsite is just below the summit. It's somewhere around there. There's a shelter over there with camping around it. That's where we're going. And then tomorrow we continue along this ridge into these clouds here, which is Mount Lafayette, which is over 4,000 feet. Looks pretty spectacular. Then we continue on down that ridge and get down to Lincoln where we have a lift waiting for us. Coolio. Wish you were all here. Actually, that's not true. I wish some of you were here. There you go. Look at this. Beautiful. This is the trail, believe it or not. Oh, gotta hang on to something here. That's almost straight vertically downwards. Okay, I better stop recording and concentrate on what I'm doing. Catch you all later. Good morning, Ireland. Can't remember the date. Monday, August 11th-ish. Can't remember, 11th or 12th. This is the top of Mount Garfield. So I stayed in Garfield shelter last night, which was excellent. Very well maintained, supervised. So yeah, just been going about 30 minutes or so. So I just had to get the top of Mount Garfield out of the way. So today we're heading over to Lafayette. So we're doing this section southbound for a slightly complicated reason involving meeting up with a very nice couple that had the use of 2 cars. So decided to do this bit with them, southbound for a change. So there you go. It's beautiful up here, lovely and clear. Hopefully it stays clear today. I believe up at Lafayette there are some spectacular views. Okay, catch you all later. Bye.
Alright, Mr. and Mrs. Positive.
There's the crew. Can only be identified by the tops of their heads. Just approaching the top of Mount Lafayette. You can see this gorgeous ridge we have to walk on. Come along for a while. Very exposed up here. You need to be very careful of increasing winds, etc. Weather can turn bad really quickly. But right now it's gorgeous, as you can see. It's the top of Lafayette right up there. Lafayette is, I think it's 5,200 and something feet. I'll check that. I'll put it on the video. Alright. I thought you'd be shy there. Look, you're just two shy Americans. Hey. See how happy they are. Okay, keep going. Push. Up, 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 up. Nearly there. Hang on tight. How you doing? Okay, it isn't that warm. Right. Let's go. Oh. Sprint finish. Whitey coming to the finish line. Hup, hup, hup. Ta-da! Okay. Hope you all enjoyed that. I'm just going to go keel over somewhere. Okay, folks, catch you later. So that's north in the clouds, it's Mount Washington. We'll be there tomorrow. There's our plan for today. Down that way. Yeah. It's a weather station near Lake of the Clouds on Mount Washington. And here, finally, Grace and Fish. That's right to left, by the way. Gotta do Spider Girl up this bit now. Yeah. This is what years of ninja training does for you. Cool. This way. A little bit of sensory overload coming up. Not bad, eh? That's where we've come from. Oh, it's shockers. Come on, Moose, move. Oh, ear flick. Good morning, Ireland. It is Wednesday, August the 14th. That makes this day 144. Everything's going really well. My knee is settled down nicely. Just got into a routine with vitamin I, as we call it on the trail, ibuprofen. The stretchy strap in a very specific location on my leg, and then I have an anti-inflammatory gel that I've been carrying, and yeah, it works really well. Every now and then I get a bit of a dart of pain if I sort of step up on it just sort of a little too high, but if I think a few seconds in advance I can use my poles and a little bit of a bounce and whatever to negotiate those steps. So yeah, right now, for a slightly complicated reason, similar to the one about meeting the couple with the car, because now we've got to effectively southbound climb Mount Washington, which is a really long high climb over a couple of other peaks that are in the way. I'm now on my way up Mount Madison. So I'm going sort of in the opposite direction to how I normally go, but ultimately heading north. Let me just concentrate on what I'm doing here, and yeah, looking forward to getting up there. We were up there yesterday morning, so that couple's second car is actually parked up there, and we walked down southbound. So today we're kind of climbing up. So, sort of keeping it pure. But yeah, it's nice. They're really nice people. I really enjoy their company. So yeah, they do some slightly unusual things in terms of directions, etc. But it's good. It mixes it up, and it's good fun. So we've got to effectively get Mount Washington done with today. Tomorrow, then we do a 2-day section of the Wildcats. So we'll be camping at a place called the Imp Shelter. So looking forward to seeing that. The sort of quality of everything in the White Mountains is more, what's the word? Serious. You know, they're much more dramatic trails, much more dramatic mountains. Everything is taken more seriously, if that isn't terrible grammar. And the hut system is fantastic. So I have shown one or two of the mountain huts. It's hard to explain how remote these things are. Some of them are on really severe slopes. You know, you're going up hand over hand kind of climbs, and suddenly you're looking at the side wall of this really cool building, and inside there could be 50 or 60 bunks split over a couple of rooms. There's a commercial kitchen. There's an eating area, so you can go in there and we can get a tea or a coffee or a juice or whatever you want. And they usually have some, cakes freshly baked or cookies or whatever. And there's a nominal fee for that. It's cheaper than buying it in a regular cafe, so it's kind of good. So fantastic area, I have to say. I'd love to come back here sometime, hopefully with Emily, maybe the girls, who knows. Just explore some of the other trails. Or I'd even happily redo the AT, so it's, you've got that sort of comfort of knowing you've got a good quality trail in front of you, and maybe stay in some of the huts. It's difficult for a through hiker to get into the huts. They're heavily booked by local hikers that are just out on a 2 or 3 day hike, and they book these things as groups, so it's very difficult to get in there. There's a weird culture on the AT that I'm just strangely uncomfortable with, that I haven't quite gotten into, where it's this thing where some of the AT hikers almost are happy acting like Jesus, like homeless people or vagabonds or beggars. You know, it's a weird kind of thing, because at those huts you can, if you show up at the designated residents' meal times and you just sort of hang around outside, you know, they bring out the leftovers to you, like, you know, I'm just not comfortable with that. And I'm not saying that that's good that I'm uncomfortable. It's not. I don't know what it is, whether it's a pride thing or what. Similarly, if you wait till, I think it's after 4 o'clock, they have this option where you can do a work for stay, so you can help clean up, and in return you have the privilege of staying inside the shelter on the floor. And again, like, no, sorry, why are the thru hikers, I don't even know why they're happy with that. It just seems like a weird thing. And the other odd thing about that is you're not even guaranteed that you'll get a spot. You know, if there are too many there, you know, you won't be able to stay in there. So if you've committed, you could have a bit of a problem with then trying to find somewhere to spend the night, especially if the weather's bad. So great if it suits you, but, you know, hike your own hike. But no, I can't sort of get myself into that sort of mentality of hoping for handouts and hoping that someone will let me sleep on their floor. No, I don't think so. I don't think there's any need to hike it in that way. However, that's just me. Okay, so I've already got some pics from Mount Washington that I'll have already put up from yesterday morning. Hopefully we get a clear view from the top. We were in cloud up there yesterday morning, but today is a lot brighter and clearer, so hopefully I get some good photos and videos. Oops. Okay, catch you all later. Bye. So I'm just approaching the top of Madison, which is there. Then you can see our hike for the day. Just follow this ridge right the way along, off in the distance, right over that very far hill. Follow the ridge line up into the clouds. Up there is Mount Washington. And from where I'm standing, that ridge is just over 7 miles. So, here you go. Best be getting on with it. Talk to you later. The only ways up. Still on my way up Madison. Sure, it's only great fun. So this is Mount Jefferson, and there in front, the high point, is Mount Washington. And that's where I'm on my way to. You can see the ridge line that I'm following. It's pretty spectacular up here. Fellow hikers. That peak in the middle of the picture is Mount Adams. I've just come over there along the other ridge line. Very cool. There you go. Catch you later. Okay, if we look closely, you can see the funicular train that comes up here. See it there? It's descending very slowly. You can sort of see the railway line going down that ridge. I guess that's the terminus down there. I'm still on this never-ending climb up to Mount Washington. 1.1 miles to go. Nearly there. So here's a little railway porn for Roy. This is the Mount Washington cog railway. You see the braking system in the middle. And you just see it disappearing over the side of the mountain. That has the potential to be a lot of fun and to be pretty scary. There you go. So I think the track I've got to walk on is just going to go right up alongside this. Okay, and here is the slowest train in the world. Okay, I might cut bits of this out and make it look exciting. Kind of cool though. See if we can get away from the guy at the front. He's obviously the guide. Miserable bastard at the back. It's got to be quite a boring job eventually. There you go. Cool. Okay, I'm bored watching it. So just like a visitor centre here at the top of Mount Washington, full of tourists. So here's a good little way to review today's hike. So if you look down there is the visitor centre where we actually started, just down at in the very bottom of the valley. And then this hill over here is Mount Madison. So you can't quite see it, but there's a very steep ascent just there. Came up Mount Madison, dropped into the valley in between these two here into the hut. And came up this mountain, which is Mount Adams. And then you got Adams 5 to the left. Then we follow the ridge along. You get to Jefferson. And keep following the ridge. And the last one we came over was Mount Clay. And then we followed the track up the ridge and up onto Mount Washington. Okay, Mark, which one do you want? What about that one? Done, that's what you're getting. The ski lift's getting ready for the winter season. Apparently it comes very early in these parts. But here's another chance to have a quick look at yesterday's hike. That is Mount Washington. And then on this ridge over here is the actual hike. You can't see the hills Jefferson and Clay in the background. They're behind that hump there. But that was yesterday. I'm now on the Wildcat Ridge, which is pretty tough so far. Just comes straight up. And we're not done yet. I think there's a top just there. And then we kind of bob up and down over a couple of Wildcat peaks for a while. So I guess snowy areas look kind of shitty in the summer. This is kind of crap. There you go. Yeah. Something tells me this area sees some shitty weather. State of the place. It's almost post-apocalyptic. Little bit of trail. We're up fairly high, we're above 4,000 feet, moving between two of the wildcats. You know, it's pretty serious peaks, very exposed ground, some very dramatic ascents and descents. And the great thing is, I mean, it attracts quite a lot of day hikers and tourists and stuff, but it isn't ruined, you know. It hasn't become like the Disney mountains or anything like that. So it is run by the AMC, which is the Appalachian Mountain Club. So it's run by enthusiasts and you know, kept pure. So hopefully it stays that way, because it is quite spectacular, I have to say. So there you go. Catch you later.